in the maths, we just forget to enjoy it. And it's so wonderful and refreshing to look at the way he just spins and goes, which is wonderful. Okay, so my presentation is the most boring of everybody's, because I'm just going to speak about our courses that we have at UKZN. But I thought I cannot miss this opportunity because we have all these important education people here. So I just want to give you two of my comments, I think. Since I've been working in KZN in maths education for the last 35 years, I think I've learned a lot, and it's been despair, working for so many years, not seeing many changes and all of that, and I hope that as we move forward, it looks like there's an extra energy and we can make a change. And as we talk about all these important things and we theorize and we look at how to look at things, there's one basic problem I can tell you from my own observations. And that speaks to what the first speaker, Mr. Shlabani, spoke about teaching lower order questions well. I think that it is a problem in our schools, and if we want to teach them that well, we have to make sure there's a lot of practice. I think he also said that the problem is there are a lot of blank books. And teachers, subject advisors, district heads, if you look at a child's book, you will know how much they've done. We can count how many days, how many weeks are there in a year that they are supposed to be taught, maybe 40 or 35. And if we think they're supposed to be taught for 4 days in a week for maths, how much of work should they have done by that time? You can pick up a book and you can see it. For each lesson, they need to do at least 10 practice examples. If you teach them linear equations, they cannot only do 2 examples. They need 10, 15. You multiply all of that and you will get over 1,000 exercises that needs to be in any child's book. But if you go to schools, and for the last 30 years I've been going to schools, many of our schools, the schools that do poorly, open the learners' books and look at how many pages they have done. Very often they've done 2 examples that the teacher has done on the board. And district directors, that's very easy for you to check. But don't use a tracker, because what we found in our study, teachers tick the tracker. The HOD ticks the tracker. So it doesn't tell you anything. Go to the learners' school books. Just go check. And we need to see how much of work are we doing? How much of thinking is the child doing? For me, in all my years, I think that's our biggest problem in KZN. If we can get them to do more work, if the teacher can make sure they do more work, if the HOD can check that the learners are doing, and it's so easy to count, just count. How many days of teaching are people doing? There's 190 days, I think, in the school year or something like that. Why is there only 25 or 30 days of work in the book? Please, that's my big contribution here that I would like you to think about. It's such a simple thing. If we can get that, I think we will really make strides. I really think we are going to make strides. We are on this upward path, and we're going to do that. That's my one point. The second point I want to put across, which many of you may not agree with, and it's this whole thing. I think Mr. Pennington, sorry, I can't remember the name, where we speak about why we have so many students doing maths literacy. I just want to also tell you that not every child in the class is going to end up doing first-year mathematics at the university. Not all of them need to know derivatives. If you've got 100 children there, only 5 of them will get 60% in maths in current trends. Now the other 95, they need to know the maths that they need for real life. They need to know how to calculate, they need to know about percentages, they need to know about what it means when the bond rates go up. And not everybody needs to know calculus. So we must please remember that. And I think that we can see that trend where we are looking at everyone. But for me, if the numbers in maths literacy grow, I don't think it's such a concern, because more students need maths literacy than the ones who are going to end up being scientists and engineers. I know some of you won't agree, okay? But I think it's worse that we have students who can't count and who can't do the basics. Okay, thank you for that. Now, I want to go on to my presentation. All right, and I think you'll tell me when time is up there. We used to have very big, okay, I'm from UKZN as well, the same as MCZ, an institution that I am very happy with. I've worked there for over 20 years and I've been very happy there, and I'm still really happy working at UKZN. We used to have very large in-service programs for teachers, but unfortunately, I think around 2010, 2011, the Department of Higher Education changed their framework, and that made it really, really complicated for us to fit in our in-service programs with the existing frameworks. So then most of our programs stopped, and we haven't had any in-service maths programs. But now we've kind of found our way out. We are developing a center for continuous education. So in the next 2 years or so, you will find that we will be offering short courses for teachers in robotics, in geometry, in teaching probability, teaching algebra, and so on, maybe teaching maths literacy, and so on. But at the moment, we don't actually have any in-service programs. Okay, one more point. Our programs in the BEd and the PGCE, they changed in 2019. So now we're running with a new program. So you are the teachers, subject advisors. You could also give us some feedback on how our new programs are working, whether we're developing teachers who can meet the needs, or whether our teachers are not doing so well when they come to you. So we have a PGCE. So a PGCE, with a PGCE, you do a degree, maybe in science or in geography or biology, environmental science, and then we do a 1-year training program with you to become a teacher. And to do a maths FET in PGCE, you need to have done 2 years of maths. And when you come to us, we do 2 16-credit modules where we take you through the school content, we take you through the policies and issues in maths education, and so on. We also have PGC in maths senior phase. For that too, we need 24 credits of maths, or 1 year of doing maths. And again, we do 2 16-credit modules where we cover the senior phase. So students come to us and they spend 1 year full-time. And we do that, and then they do other subjects as well. This is a model that would be good for people who have done another specialization and now want to come to teach. It can also work well if they're attached to schools and you want to train them to become teachers. Then we have a PGCE in Maths Lit. The entrance is the same as the senior phase, where we go through maths literacy and the policy and how to teach it and so on. Often we think maths literacy is so easy, but it's not so easy, especially the interpretation. Okay, so that's our PGCE, and then we have the BEd. As I told you, this program was changed in 2019 according to the higher education requirements that they put through in the new framework. So since 2019, we've been offering this. We have specializations in foundation phase, and the requirements, there's no additional requirements. They just need to be accepted for the BEd. And for the foundation phase teachers, we do 2 mathematics modules with the maths department, and they do another numeracy module with the foundation phase. The intermediate phase, also we don't have any extra criteria for maths. We do 2 maths content and 2 method. And there is a maths that we do for non-specialist maths teachers in intermediate phase. We have specializations in senior phase and FET. So senior phase, we ask for a pass in maths at 40%, They study 4 content and 3 PCK. And the FET phase, we say that they did 60%, and we do 5 content and 3 PCK. Just to give you some more information, that senior and FET specialization, they take 1 FET subject and they take 2 senior phase. So for example, if they're doing maths in the FET, they could do maths senior phase as the second specialization and technology. So a maths teacher who is teaching FET would actually do the specialization for the FET and also do the specialization for the senior phase. This, I think, was a move from the Department of Higher Education to address the issues of people not knowing enough of the maths that they teach. Now they certainly go through a lot of the maths that they will teach. Of course, if somebody's majoring in physics in the FET, they would need to do natural science and then they can pick up another senior phase. We don't have the situation anymore where you can have a specialization in 2 FET subjects. Okay, and so a lot of, maybe that's a disadvantage because, for example, we can't send our teachers that are majoring in FET in physical science and maths FET. They'd have to do maths senior phase and physical science. So just to go through those modules. So as I was saying, if you look at this, I don't know how to get the pointer. Okay. We have the FET content that they do. They do 5 FET content. Okay. Okay, all right, sorry about that. So our FET teachers, they would do 5 content modules. They do a pre-calc, they do a geometry and trig, a differential calculus, and then they do a stats and probability module, and they do an integral calculus and modeling module. So the maths that they do is not as high as we used to go. And then they do their 3 PCK modules. In addition, these FET teachers also do the senior phase. Now the senior phase content we cover up to the matric level. So they go through the geometry, trig and measurement, algebra and functions, and so on. So these, if you get a teacher that's teaching FET, that's majoring in FET maths and senior phase maths, they should actually know the school curriculum very well and some of the maths beyond that. They will also have a very strong background in geometry because we've previously, that was a gap that we had. Teachers were not so strong in geometry. And also we have a big focus on statistics and probability. For foundation phase and intermediate, of course, they would do the 2 content modules, maths education for foundation and intermediate phase 1 and 2. And then we may also have teachers who are going to teach intermediate phase, but they're not specialists in maths. So for them, we will do a foundational module that takes them through the primary school curriculum. All our teachers that are specializing in maths also do a coding and robotics module. And then we've given up one of our maths modules so that they can do it. And then they do 2 method modules. I think that is all I have to say.